steps required to successfully claim your website on Pinterest. While these steps seem easy to follow, I'll take some time to expand on each of these items so that you can follow along. First, you want to verify the website you want to claim for your Pinterest account. This URL can be a second-level domain, such as example.com. It could be a subdomain, such as ads.example.com, or a subpath, which can be as example.com/UK. Once you've identified that, you'll head to your Pinterest account settings and locate the claim section. If you need a direct link, you can head to pinterest.com/settings/claim. And with the help of Jasmine, she'll be able to provide these links that I mentioned in the meeting chat. Thanks, Jasmine. In the websites row, you'll click on the claim button to begin the process. And from there, a pop-up window will appear for allowing you to choose any of the 3 available claiming methods. The first, you could choose to add an HTML verification tag, which requires you to copy and paste that HTML verification tag in the head section of your website. Second, you can upload an HTML file, which requires you to download the HTML tag and upload it to your website's root directory. And finally, you can add a text record, which requires you to copy and paste the verification record to your domain host. Once you have completed one of those claiming methods, you can continue on to the next page, paste the website URL where you've placed the verification tag, and you can go ahead and click on Verify. If you follow the steps correctly and everything checks out, within an hour, you should receive an email when the claim process is complete. Here are some of the key benefits, in case no one has really explored it too much, about claiming your site on Pinterest. With a claim site, you can see additional data for pins linking to it in analytics. If you haven't checked out our tool before, you can visit it directly at analytics.pinterest.com. Also, you get additional profile visibility for pins that lead to your claim site. An example of this is that you receive a follow button that appears next to your profile icon when pinners visit your pins. If you have claimed multiple sites or websites on your account, you can choose which URL you want to display on it from your account settings page. Next, you unlock wonderful shopping features like uploading a catalog. And finally, if you use a major third-party website provider, for example, like Wix, GoDaddy, WordPress, and many more, we provide instructions on how to claim those from those platforms in our Help Center. Here is a visual representation showing the benefits of claiming your website on Pinterest. For IKEA, they are able to display their claim site, which you see in that bolded portion on the image on the left, and show their profile for any pins leading to it, which you see in the image to the right. So for today's session, I'll be going over the most common method of claiming a site on Pinterest, which is adding the HTML tag. When using this method, all you need to do is to copy and paste that verification tag in the head section of your website, just as this recording shows on the slide. Once you have pasted the verification HTML tag and saved the changes on your site, you can return back to the Pinterest claim process and press continue to proceed with verifying it. Additional important notes: if you are using a web hosting provider, just as I mentioned earlier, like Wix, WordPress, GoDaddy, and many more, make sure to visit the Help Center, their Help Center, for instructions on how to add the HTML verification tag. Don't forget, we also list instructions in our Claim Your Website Help Center article. For those using online stores such as Etsy, we consider those as an online marketplace account rather than a social account, or a social account, my mistake, rather than a website or a domain host. Instead of adding the verification code, since you are unable to do so, all you need to do is sign in with your credentials to connect them. And you can do that in your Pinterest account settings page. Diving in a little deeper for third-party hosting web services, such as Wix and WordPress, and as I'll take an example, make sure to carefully follow those instructions for site verification before continuing to verify from the Pinterest account settings page. While we cannot fully show you how to do this for each web hoster, the steps are pretty much the same. First, you'd obtain the verification tag from your Pinterest account settings, navigate to the claim, and then navigate to the website. From there, you're gonna go to your web hosting site. You can open this in a new tab or in a new page, and look for the site verification section and paste the relevant tag in the Pinterest section. From the slide here, for Wix users, if we look at step 2, you're gonna head from your Wix dashboard and navigate to SEO tools, then onto site verifications, and look for a Pinterest section. And there you should be able to paste the verification tag and save your edits. For WordPress users, from your WordPress account, you can navigate to My Sites, then onto Tools, look for the marketing page, and finally land on Traffic. And there you should be able to find a Pinterest area section in the site verification services to paste your verification tag. Once you've saved those changes, you can return to the Pinterest claim page to continue with verifying your site. While web hosters have a dedicated space for pasting this code, just as I showed here in the slide, other providers that can also include online marketplaces such as Etsy or Squarespace may require you to simply connect your account between both platforms to complete the claiming process. I do want to call out that if you are a Shopify user, it is recommended to add the Shopify app from the account settings page to automatically claim your site.myshopify.com URL, or a custom URL if you've purchased it. So here are some considerations for claiming a site on your Pinterest account. First, you can only claim one unique website per Pinterest account. This allows a single Pinterest profile to have full ownership of their domain rather than having multiple users claiming it. For accounts that need to claim the same unique website, you can claim a subpath or subdomain to work around this. Keep in mind that when you claim a subpath, the account will only record data for pages of the site that include that exact URL format. So for example, if an account claims pinterest.com/US, it means that the account will only record URLs that follow the exact format, pinterest.com/US, and anything that follows after. And it will not record data for other pages on the Pinterest website that do not contain that exact format. Secondly, if you are going to claim a subdomain, please ensure that the URL routes to the same place as the root domain in order for Pinterest to validate it. Those of you who have successfully claimed multiple websites, keep in mind that it is possible to claim more than one unique website on the same account. Just keep in mind that it must be at the second level domain, like I mentioned, a subdomain or a subpath. And pretty much that's going to sum up our session for guiding you on claiming your website successfully on Pinterest. I'm going to hand it over to Jasmine before we start getting answering more of your submitted form questions. Jasmine?
Thanks so much, Ryan. Appreciate this informative walkthrough. And now we're going to go ahead and jump into our questions that we received via the Google form. And then I see we have an additional question in the chat, so we will go ahead and try to get to that as well. So let's go ahead and jump into our pre-submitted questions.
All right. So the first form response that we received is some questions about specifically claiming on WordPress. And this is, I got a scenario without using plugins. And so my answer to this is I did cover it in the earlier slides, but there are a couple of additional steps that require you to verify your site. And I can cover it again for you. First, you'll copy the verification HTML tag from your Pinterest account settings claim page. Second, you'll try and open a new tab and access your WordPress account. Once there, you'll try and navigate to My Sites, Tools, Marketing, and then Traffic. And if you need a direct link, which Jasmine provided, it should be wordpress.com/marketing/traffic. Once you land on that page, you should be able to scroll down a little bit to look for the Site Verification Services section. And there you can paste the code that you copied into the relevant Pinterest section. Once completed and the changes are saved, you can then return to the Pinterest account settings claim page and complete the final step to kick off the verification process. Next question that we received is if there would be different explanations for different website platforms. And unfortunately, like I mentioned earlier, we cannot cover every step-by-step detail for claiming your website through other website platforms. However, our Help Center article on Claim Your Website lists the web hoster's instructions to guide you. And I hope the previous slides that we went over give you some clarity should you feel stuck. As always, feel free to stay in touch with us either in the PBC or by filing a ticket if you need additional support. The next question we received was about how do you claim a blogger site? And my answer to that is, well, the instructions may vary based on what blogging site you use. But ideally, you would want to have access to edit your site's HTML tags. Once you're able to access it, you can paste the verification code in the head section and continue claiming in the Pinterest account settings. If we recall back to the recording that I showed there, it should be fairly simple to just kind of copy and paste it into the head section of your site. Next question that we received was, how do you add a Wix catalog to Pinterest? And so I would like to break this down in a couple steps, since claiming your website is one important step for getting started with this. First, you need to make sure that you have a Pinterest business account. Second, you want to try and claim your website in the Pinterest account settings page. And third step is you want to have a data source that contains a list of all your products. If you're not familiar with the data source, we also name that as a product catalog, a product feed, or a data feed. And it's basically a file with a list of your products and the corresponding attributes structured in a specific way. This file, if it's uploaded in our catalogs, is processed daily to dynamically create pins from your products. All additional information and instructions are explained in the Before You Get Started with Catalogs Help Center article. And the final question was regarding claiming multiple subpath domains, or known as different pages in your site, in order to highlight that link on your Pinterest profile. And the answer is yes. As I mentioned in my previous slides, it is possible to claim multiple unique sites to your Pinterest account. When doing so, you have the option to choose which site you want to display on your profile. There, you can set that in the public profile section of your Pinterest account setting page. That should cover all of the form submitted responses that we got. Jasmine, is there any other additional questions I can help answer?
Yeah, so we have a couple of questions in the chat here. Thanks, Jana, for bringing up this really good feedback. I'll go ahead and read off the comment and let us know, Ryan, if we're able to address this or if we can address it in the PBC at a later time. So Jana shared that she's had a few students asking about considering Linktree-like links in their Pinterest profiles. So she's curious about this since in the past it's been necessary to use your main domain, not a page on your site as the website in order to claim properly. Is there any insights we can share here, or is this something that we can come back to in PBC?
I wouldn't give you a full answer on that, Jana. I will double check with our internal teams, but from my understanding of it, Linktree, I don't foresee any issues with claiming Linktree. Again, it doesn't hurt to try it in your account settings page. And should you run into errors, again, feel free to reach out to us in the PBC or submit a ticket and we can take a closer look for you.
Awesome. Thank you, Ryan. And then we also had a question here from Susie asking, how do you find the head section?
Yeah, Susie. Depending on what program you're using, again, double check if they have Help Center information on that. Ideally, if the head section would be WordPress. Okay, so for WordPress, in my earlier slides, there are instructions on how to manually do this without having to do an HTML verification. There should be a site verification area where you can just add the verification tag rather than actually going into the HTML of your site. So there's already a pre-integrated process of doing this through WordPress, and hopefully you can use that process rather than trying to access your HTML. But ideally, your head should show just on the top of your HTML markups if you've had access to edit your site. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Thank you, Ryan. Appreciate these answers. If anyone else has any questions, please feel free to throw it in the chat, or if you just need any clarification on any of the slides that Ryan went over, we definitely have some time here. So feel free to either unmute yourself if you're comfortable, or just throw any additional questions here in the chat. Ryan is a great resource, so we have him here. We can definitely pick his brain. And since we're a smaller group, we have definitely more time to dig into some of your specific questions. All right. And just as a quick reminder, we will be sharing out this deck along with a recording, and we'll also be putting together the questions that you asked in the chat, as well as the questions that were submitted in our Google form. We'll be listing them out in an article format, so you can always go back and refer to either the video or the article with all of these really helpful links and explanations that Ryan shared today. We hope that you found this helpful to help guide you in claiming your website. And we really hope that you're finding these events helpful in general. We're really trying to address topics that are top of mind for our audiences in the PBC. So we're really, digging deeper into questions that we're seeing asked, common troubleshooting topics. So I've added a link here in our chat for our post-event survey. I would really appreciate if you all could fill this out for us. It's really going to help inform us as we continue to grow our events program. Let us know what we're doing well, what you would like to see more of, what topics you'd like to see covered. This is really your program. The PBC is your space, so we want to make sure that you're getting the most value out of these events and the PBC content that we have in general. So would really appreciate if you could take a minute or two to fill out that survey. And it looks like we don't have any additional questions today. So just want to give a huge thank you to Ryan for joining us today, for walking us through these common issues. I hope that this was insightful for everyone, and really appreciate all of your time. Thanks so much. All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Have a good rest of your day.